I'm really happy to introduce Dr. Anand Kumar IAS. Dr. Anand Kumar is a Bachelor of Veterinary Science from Veterinary College and Research Institute, Namakkal, and has done his Masters from Central Avian Research Institute. He was an outstanding student with 5 university gold medals to his credit before he began his career as a veterinary assistant surgeon in Pollachi in the year 2001. He is born in the year 6/9/1975. And he is happily married to Dr. Sri Vidya, and is blessed with 2 lovable princesses, Gopika and Deepika. His hobbies are reading and writing. He has published about 11 books, and I like to name about 5 books. Pookal Nalayum Pookum, Padi Padiyai Padi, Uyir Thedum Ullam, தேர்வு வாழ்க்கையும் வாழ்க்கை தேர்வும், படித்தாலே இனிக்கும். These are some of his notable ones. He joined as IAS 2003 batch Tamil Nadu cadre, and between 2004 and 2005 assistant collector, and 2005 and 2007 sub collector. In the year 2007 additional collector. In the year 2007 and 2008 deputy commissioner health, Corporation of Chennai. In the year 2008 and 2010, additional collector. In the year 2010, joint commissioner of commercial taxes. In the year 2010 and 2011, district collector Dharmapuri. In the year 2011, district collector Erode. In the year 2011 and 2015, deputy commissioner Greater Chennai Corporation. Between 2015 and 2017, executive director Tamil Nadu Watershed Development Agency. Between 2017 and 2018, additional secretary to government finance department. Between 2019 and 2020, special secretary to government finance department. Between 2020 and 2021, commissioner of sugars. Presently, he is the commissioner civil supplies and consumer protection department. Additional charges, commissioner government data between 2018 and 2000. In the year 2018, chairman and managing director, Pumbugar Shipping Corporation Limited, Chennai, between 2020 and till date. In addition to this, Dr. Anand Kumar also coaches UPSC aspirants for free of cost, and he guides them to be a future leader. He is a wonderful person, easily accessible, down-to-earth character. May God bless him for his service to this community. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Sasi sir, for those nice words. So today morning, it was nice listening to the previous speaker who spoke about positivity, and that's about emotional intelligence too. So I was told to talk from 12 to 1, so it is 12, almost 12:30. So I think we need to have a specific time. So I shall go up to the 1 o'clock time limit, and then I have a presentation here. So please enable me to share the presentation. Yes, it is. I think I can share it.
Sir, you have already been enabled to share your screen.
Yes, madam, I am going on.
Okay, sir.
Is it visible now? I think.
Yes, sir. It's clearly visible.
So my topic today is emotional intelligence for UPSC preparation. So let me go directly into that. So what is emotional intelligence? We need to know. before that, I would like to tell a few words about me. So it will give a understanding, basic idea about what kind of emotional ups and downs I have seen in my life. So I belong to 2003 batch of IAS. I wrote the UPSC exam 4 times, and it was in from 1999 to 2002. So 2 times I went for UPSC interview, and 2 times I could not go. They were all first attempt. I cleared the prelims. I could not write the mains. And then for those who are new to the UPSC preparation, I should say that it involves 3 stages. One is preliminary, second is main, and the main exam consists of the interview also, personality test also. So like this, it goes, and we will means if there are any questions, I will be able to straight away talk about them. Otherwise, I will go through the ideas or presentation, and that will throw some light on what emotional intelligence. All these materials which I gathered and going to present today are they were gathered by me in the future, in the after getting into the civil services. So that doesn't mean that they are not applicable to the ever evolving array of aspirants who write the exam. It is always good to share good ideas about emotional intelligence, and emotions are the major or guiding factor of anybody's life. What our previous speaker spoke is also about full of emotions, being good and feeling good, being optimistic are very good qualities which are very much required for civil service aspirants also. With this, I will go to the next slide. These are all the books, means books make life wonderful, and we will be searching for ideas about emotional intelligence. And this books like one by Daniel Goleman, I am going to show their quotes and their thoughts. Daniel Goleman, Daniel Kahneman is a scientist on decision making. He's a philosopher. He's a psychologist. He got a Nobel Prize in economics stream, and he is a psychologist, but he got a Nobel Prize in economics stream. That idea is about behavioral economics. He studied the behavior of the human behavior, and human behavior and decision making is his area of importance, area of focus. When I went for phase 4 of the IAS training in Labasna, the academy in Missouri, there they focused on thinking fast and slow, how the human brain thinks, how we take decisions based on what we go ahead on our decision making. All these things were discussed in that training, and I wrote a book on that in Tamil, Payanam Thiranda Idayam. So these ideas are very important, and they if they reaches the right people in the right time, that will throw a lot of thinking, lot of light into the decision making. So being anti-fragile is what we are going to see, that it is written by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. The other books of Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the next one is given there itself, it is Black Swan. Then Stumbling on Happiness, that is written by Daniel Gilbert. Daniel Gilbert is a scientist who is working in the area of happiness research in Harvard University for past 2-3 decades. And Nudge, this book is a wonderful book about how the environmental factors influence our decision making, how we can change the environmental factors to take a best decision. This is what is discussed in that book, Nudge. And Nudge became a very big concept, and the UK government also involved this scientist in taking decisions. Professor Richard Taylor lives in US, in Chicago University, and these ideas on Nudge we are going to touch upon in this presentation. The Art of Thinking Clearly, the presentation of this book is very interesting, and you will be very likely to refer and read. If we want to enter into this area of psychology and emotional intelligence, positive psychology, optimism, all these things can start from this Ralph Dobley's book. He is a Swiss writer, author, very nicely presented short snippets about all these best quality thoughts from all Black Swan. What is Black Swan? What is being anti-fragile? Or Daniel Kahneman's ideas. What is illusion? How our decision making is affected by our thinking process. All these things are written in this book very clearly. So that makes us to think clearly. And then Daniel Goleman has written so many books. First book is Daniel Goleman's book only. The other one is on destructive emotions. In this book, the experience of interacting with Dalai Lama in Dharamshala in India is written, and then the analysis, the learning points from the Buddha philosophy, the Dalai Lama's concepts, and the learnings from how to control anger and other destructive emotions is presented in a positive manner. A lot of psychologists from US, they came and interacted with the Dalai Lama to learn about what is emotionally being intelligent means, and how meditation and other practices, Indian Eastern practices, help in controlling the mind, which is a wonder which is common in the Western world or Indian or any subcontinent for that matter. Grit. This book is written by Angela Duckworth, madam. She, you can hear her in Freakonomics, in the audio Freakonomics radio. She is hosting No Stupid Questions, and along with Steve Dubner, and that is a very interesting. The grit shows how our determination can be developed. This book and the concept of grit is highly related to the people who want to prepare for civil services. It will help to hold our mind in a good state for a longer duration. That is how grit is getting placed in the emotional intelligence arena. Then searching for memory. Memory is life, actually. We all gather, all do what we do due to the reason that we want to have a good memory. Good memories about our life makes the reason it is kept in the pedestal to take a call on any matter. For that matter, those who wanted to attend this session also are looking for creating a good memory about this session. That is why we are all gathering here to attend, and that is how we are seeing those who want to refer or further build up on what we are going to discuss in this session. They may be willing to refer this book, Searching for Memory. The full version of it is the Searching for Memory, the brain, the past, and the mind. So what is the concept of what is the difference between brain and mind, and how they are interconnected, how mind is influencing the brain, whether the mind is different from brain or not, and all these things can be read about in this book. How memories are formed, then what is false memory and true memory, how memory is retrieved. All these concepts are being very well presented in this Daniel Schachter's book. So I spoke about Daniel Goleman. This emotional intelligence book is a very interesting phenomena, and this book is very useful to write the emotional intelligence part of the UPSC mains ethics paper. Now there is a paper on ethics, and those who are not knowing, they can know that in the emotional intelligence part, what is emotion is defined in this book, and in a very real sense, we have two minds, one that thinks and one that feels. So for UPSC aspirant, not only for UPSC aspirants, for anybody in the life, whether we take decisions based on thinking and data or based on emotions. If we answer that, those who want to answer in the chat, they can answer. But the real answer is that we all take decisions with the feelings, with the emotion only. Emotional decisions only are taken by the human beings. in Thinking Fast and Slow book, Daniel Kahneman talks about two systems, and later we will see those systems here. And that system also explains how system one is running into a erroneous decision making process. If your emotional abilities aren't in hand, emotion means the fleeting sense of feeling in the mind. So that is emotion. So that can be happiness, that can be joy, anger. All these things are short lived actually. And if you see a Paul Ekman's video in the YouTube, he will be he is a lie detector, human lie detector. He can find out the difference between a liar's face and those who are telling the truth, and then he explains about it. So emotion means a fleeting sense of feeling. That is that is defined in the first emotional intelligence definition I'm going to tell you. So second part of it is empathy. Empathy is part of emotional intelligence. That first, understanding our own emotions is emotional intelligence. Second, understanding others emotion is empathy. That is also emotional, part of emotional intelligence. So understanding our own heart, who am I, who am I, what is our mind, why, how my mind works, why I like and dislike things alternatively. If you read Daniel Gilbert's book on Stumbling on Happiness, he will explain that how human beings think that we are completed products, rather than in the process of making. Our brain is in the process of making. It is not a completely evolved one. So it is bound to make mistakes. Those mistakes, how it is made, all these things are explained in that book of Stumbling on Happiness. Here, emotional intelligence I'm going to define. So two parts I have told. One, understanding our own mind. Second part is understanding others feelings, that is empathy. Third one is regulating the feelings, regulating the emotions, controlling the anger, or controlling the overall overjoyment. All these things are will be helpful for people who are preparing for exam and preparing for life also. Entire life is a well prepared life will help for a better execution of the life, if it is like a game. But a well prepared mind can face the uncertainties in a better manner. We are going to see about anti-fragility in the coming slides. Now the third part of third part of emotional intelligence is regulating the emotions, and the fourth part is using the emotional intelligence for work. Doing earlier times, IQ was supposed to be very important. Nowadays, or from nowadays, people are slowly understanding that from the time immemorial, it was the emotional intelligence which was bringing out the best of the intelligence quotient out. So EQ, higher EQ, is not directly measured like that of in Singapore. They are having psychometric tests and all to assess the emotional quotient. Here means not much of direct assessment is happening, but still what differentiates the success and failure in the life is more component, more percentage of the importance need to be given to the emotional intelligence. And that kind of awakening and awareness is coming in the academics nowadays. And that is why we talk about all these four parts of the emotional intelligence. One is understanding our own mind. Second is understanding others' mind, empathy. Third is the regulation. And fourth is using for efficient, using emotions for doing work actually. So if you are not able to manage your distressing emotions, sudden flash of emotions can bring end to the life actually. There are so many people who commit suicide, and if their emotional intelligence is high, then they can take an alternative decision to live actually. So whether to consult somebody in a distressing stage, that requires an awareness to know that what is our state of mind. That kind of awareness can come from emotional intelligence. And if you are knowing that there is a subject called emotional intelligence, people will be interested in learning it. And it is possible to train our mind in handling emotions. And first part of it is to know about it. And that is what we are going to do. Then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far. That is what is written here. If you don't have empathy and the effective relationship, this is effective relationship comes in the third part of the regulating. If your anger increases, then we are not going to make friends with many people. So our Tirukural, which is called common Veda for all the world, it says about those who have a pleasing demeanor, they can be good leaders actually. So to have a pleasing demeanor, one should be able to know what is happiness, how it comes, how anger can be controlled, how distressing and negative pessimistic thoughts can be controlled. All these things are explained in a book called in a concept called positive psychology. Positive psychology is an invention, is initiated in 1998 by Daniel Seligman. And Daniel Seligman talks about this positive psychology, and he has written books on authentic happiness. We know happiness, and what is authentic happiness, whether our happiness is authentic or not, how poor we are in judging our own happiness and others' happiness. So these are all the we do pursuit of happiness is the basic requirement, basic idea of human beings to move towards towards the future. Our step is based on our own idea whether our next step will bring us happiness or not. So therefore we need to understand what is happiness actually. So for that, those who are interested in learning what is happiness, what is authentic happiness, whether we are authentically happiness, or whether our happiness is original or not, we may be interested in learning Seligman. So there is a American Psychologists Association. They have listed best psychologists in the world, and it was interesting. All these things I read in the past 1 year or something, and this listing brings Daniel means Seligman also in the top 100. In the top 100, Elizabeth Loftus, who researched about memories, true memories, false memories, how memories are being formed. All she is also listed in that top 100, and then Richard Thaler also. So whatever I have brought to you is the best of the material available in the field, and I think you will be interested in learning this. Even though it looks very monotonous to go continuously on this subject, let me present it and gather those questions in the coming time. Next slide, we go to the. So this is a Raila meeting, so that's why I have written Raila there. Otherwise, Daniel Kahneman, I spoke about this professor, 95 years and more. And recently, Daniel Kahneman has written a book called Noise, How Experts Make Emotionally Influenced Decisions, how two experts can differ in their opinion, and both can be correct according to them. What are all the different shades of decision making, and he is a decision making expert. Those who are interested in learning more about decision making for exam studies, also for life improvement also, they can write Daniel Kahneman in the YouTube and listen to this professor's talks. It will be very interesting. And heuristics is the learning by experience. This is how from our experience how we learn. And there are Daniel Kahneman talks about thought experiments. So this applied part of this will be available, will be useful for our life decision making. So that kind of I am talking about Daniel Kahneman to make us understand that the basic concepts of emotional intelligence, if it is applied in studies, that will be very useful for civil service preparation. At the same time, if it is applied in the life, that will be very useful to understand us, which forms the basic part of living actually. So Daniel Kahneman talks about system 1 and system 2. So we were talking about the mind, whether we have one mind or two mind. This is you can roughly classify as two mind. So we have two mind, mind 1 and mind 2 also we can name. Mind 1 is fast, mind 1 is sudden. If suddenly somebody asks, and normal times we operate system 1 only. All our decisions are automatically done. Everyday decisions like when to eat, how long to listen to this address, that is decided in system 2. System 2 is slow, system 2 is evaluating, system 2 is effortful, it analyzes the data, and complex decisions are taken by the system 2. And system 1 and system 2 studies are very interesting. If we go into the thinking fast and slow, this is fast and it is slow. So we have two systems to do. And then system 1 is called intuition. So intuitional decision making or gut feeling, we say that is error prone. And that's what our Daniel Kahneman says. And so therefore, in certain decisions, if you make an intuitive decision to study, then we need to revisit that decision. We need to study the data available for us to decide to go into civil service preparation or any other business decisions also. And then how data reading can be influenced by emotions is written in Black Swan and other Anti-Fragile or Fooled by Randomness book of Nassim Nicholas Taleb. I am repeatedly telling these scientists' names, and I hope the listeners are interested, and they may further work upon to get benefit out of their effort. Next. So peak and end rule is one of the psychological concepts of decision making. How we see, if you experience, our decisions are based on the memories of experience actually. If you whatever experience we have, man is a social animal. Whatever experience we have, our recalling cannot be the total replay of experiences into the mind, and it takes the best out of that. If for example we watch a movie and we want to pass a judgment on whether the movie is right or wrong, so our mind will take 2-3 snapshots of the best scene and the end. If the end is good, then then there is all possibility that we need to we may conclude that the movie is good. I took a movie as an example. For whatever reasons, if you take a person's life also, if the end is good, we are tend to give that life a very good score, rather than seeing the total life of their happiness and other parameters. So, and there are a lot of examples which are given in that book. One important example is this cold water experiment. This cold water experiment I will explain in short, or you can browse in the net and find out. So this talks about immersing the hand in the chilled water. And then in one experiment, they will immerse the hand fully in cold water itself. In the second experiment, they will second part of the experiment, they will add warm water in the end, but the duration will be increased. See, then they will say, the participants will conclude when the warm water is added in the last 30 seconds, and they will say that is a better choice. If we want to get into that experiment again, they will say that the part B of the experiment only we want to participate. Whereas theoretically, if you see, the duration is increased, 30 seconds is going to be increased. It is wise to stop that experiment at this 60 seconds itself. But if they are not knowing that the warm water is added for additional duration neglect is a quality of our own brain. What these two concepts of psychology says is our mind cannot take a data-based decision from whatever experience we have. So therefore, emotional or intuitive decisions, we need to revisit whether it is okay or not. Now, the previous speaker was talking about an experiences which initially we may be thinking that that is not good. So therefore, we may avoid it. But whereas if we try and later find out that decision, whatever decision we took is good, and then it helped, so then it will prove that successful people resist their intuition and go for a longer time. That is called grit and determination. To to sustain our effort, we need to overcome our own inhibitions. That's what the cold water experiment suggests us. Now we come to the great author Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Anti-fragility is a quality which comes out of the positivity and emotional intelligence and the perseverance and the quality to resist the temptation to surrender. So these are all the qualities which are required for great business people, people who are trying to overcome the odds, or overcoming in the sense using the odds. If something goes against us, then how to gain from it? Gaining from the disorder is called anti-fragility. So what is the difference between anti-fragile? Is a new word which Nassim Nicholas Taleb coined. If resilient is unaffected by the disorder, but anti-fragile is benefited by the disorder. See, if some risk is coming, if you gain from the risk, then that is an anti-fragile quality. We should be anti-fragile. There is a book by the same title by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. Those who want to read or learn about anti-fragile book, they are welcome to see in the YouTube, and there are a lot of talks. Even Nassim Nicholas Taleb, the professor's talk, is also available. He's a trader, successful trader, later who became a philosopher, and his area of expertise is called risk engineering. So how risk engineering is like about the risk in the life itself, how decisions are made, how decisions can be altered. Those who change their decisions, take the right decisions, is the anti-fragile quality of the talk, of the anti-fragile quality of the decision, of the personality. So that helps in understanding what is, this slide helps in understanding what is anti-fragility. So there is a mythological creature called Hydra. If you cut one head, it can become two head. That is what is written there. So resilient quality is phoenix. So this phoenix bird can come out from the ashes. So it is destroyed and it comes out. One phoenix comes. That is resilient. That is also a good quality. But being anti-fragile is using the. If you don't cut that hydra, it will be one only. So since it has suffered a loss, suffered an adversity, it has gained. Fragility is a sword of Damocles. Damocles is a king on whom a sword was dangling. Means at any point of time he was under constant threat that his life is under threat. So therefore you can see from this slide, he suffers or breaks from volatility. He is afraid of the natural life. Change in the life will affect those who are fragile, but not anti-fragile people. So change is most welcome, and then from the change they grow. From the risk they grow into double. That is what anti-fragile. So if we are facing any problem during the preparation of the studies, then we should take it in a positive manner, and we should use, for example, you are made to travel to a new place due to the family situation or some work requirement, or you join a job due to the difficulty in the life, economic life. Therefore, when you want to continue in that work and study, that can be used, adapted. You need to adapt according to the advantages of the study. Additional income from the work can be invested in buying books and study. That is becoming anti-fragile. See, if I take one example from my own life, I joined veterinary assistance agency in Tamil Nadu government in 2001. So there I was posted in a place called Marappa Kaundanpudur near Pollachi, where I was studying. At those point of time, I was a veterinary assistant surgeon, but still I continued to dream about getting into IAS. And I was using the peaceful atmosphere of that wonderful village in the Western Ghat to concentrate on the studies, and then that has helped me to remember or means memorize a lot of good concepts which later I can write in the exam, then get into the civil services. So people when they get into a new environment, their dreams or they continue to work for particular aim. The continuity in working for a particular aim, that comes from the anti-fragility. So that is one part of emotional intelligence. And we this is a very good concept called there is a very good concept called black swan. So it talks about uncertainties in life. Uncertainties only, whatever is going to happen, there are known unknowns and unknown unknowns. We don't know whether we will be subjected to what kind of life situation in the coming days. So accordingly, we need to adapt ourselves immediately and then come with the anti-fragility to achieve. That is how the progress in life can come to us. That is what is explained in Black Swan. So this is how the emotional intelligence part is fit into this. When the great historian and the philosopher and writer, scientist, Mr. Yuval Noah Harari was asked about which subject is good for the young people to focus on, he chose emotional intelligence. This is available in a YouTube interview of that great orator and writer and philosopher. He and futurist. He talks about future, how it is going to be. You can you might be knowing about those 3 books which has sold more than 1 crore. They are Sapiens, Homo Deus, and 21 Lessons for 21st Century. So he says emotional intelligence is the requirement of the present, and that helps in improvement of the life, of the quality of life in all in people in all walks of life. So central idea in Black Swan is that rare events cannot be estimated from empirical observations. So rare event is whatever is going to be in the future. It is a rare event, and we ourselves are Black Swan. I can go further on about luck, what is luck, and how randomness is being mingled in. I think 1 o'clock we need to close, and I stop sharing the presentation in the middle. And time is a thing which is common to all in this rare and precious resource. Thank you so much for this great opportunity of meeting wonderful minds today. And I thank Mr. Sasi from Coimbatore, who was instrumental in tough times in Tamil Nadu during this rainy situation. Sasi, Mr. Sasi was very encouraging, and today it is a sunny day. And thanks for nature also, which allowed me to meet all of you. I don't know whether I could make up meet your expectations, but still I liked presenting certain concepts on emotional intelligence in this forum. Thank you, one and all. It's not audible, madam.
Sir, is it audible now?
Yes.
Thank you so much for your amazing elaboration on emotional intelligence. I hope everyone here understood the core concept of emotional intelligence by now. And amazingly, you have given a lot of book references as well. Thank you, sir. We would like to know if you have time for a few questions now.
Yes, ma'am, I can take. Whether you have time to ask them questions or I don't know. Actually, it is one, it was supposed to be closing.
No, two questions now.
Yeah.
And it's already been put up in the chat box. So.
Yeah, I saw, can human reach the stage of resilience and anti-fragile by emotional intelligence? Certainly, I believe, I would like to know who has asked that also, all panelists and attendees if it's written. So it will be a learning experience to know you people. But being resilient and anti-fragile, emotional intelligence only can bring that qualities actually. If somebody is struck by a unfortunate failure, see which has means initial stages from in the class 12, when I was getting out of the school, I was dreaming to become a human doctor, and suddenly landed as a veterinarian in the veterinary college after joining BSc chemistry, then Bachelor of Engineering in a engineering college, then a physiotherapy in a physiotherapy college, in a government college and a private college in Trichy, and then Coimbatore again. So when you go through the ups and downs, if you are anti-fragile, then you finally see the light in the future actually. And if you see something as an end, that ends there. If it is a bend, then we can curve and then come back successfully. If you take cricket or football or whatever it is, which both of it I play, one defeat should not make us fragile and lose our interest in playing and working on our physique to improve the next game actually. Can you share your thoughts on making immediate right decision in a crucial situation? Okay, Akash, you asked the question. Thank you. So immediate right decision in a crucial situation. That's a very good question. See, if it is a black swan or anything, philosophers say like Gita. So you take means you do your work, but don't expect the result. In Tamil, it is called Kadamai Chai Palanai Edirparathu. You work, do your duty, don't expect the fruits. So why means if anti-fragility explains it actually. So when the result comes, then you should think that we have worked for that result only. Whatever happens is good for us only. That's what the previous session speaker was also telling. So that quality is anti-fragility, and from there we need not means in cricket or high performance sports or wherever it is, people train the system one and leave it to perform. During the performance, we should not keep on thinking about what is going to be the result of it. Then those who see the means those who put both the eyes on the target, they become blind actually. So one eye should be on the target and the one eye should be on our own ability and training and the result, and we should enjoy the process. That's what is called flow. There is a book called Flow itself by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. I wish you read it, and if you are in the flow, then the process is the happiness. If what you are doing is the happiness, the journey itself is the life actually. It is not the end which matters. What are all the challenging situations that you had faced in your IAS journey? So you mean to ask whether the IAS journey can be termed into two, split into two, reaching IAS and after IAS actually. So challenging situations means any challenge need to be accepted as an opportunity. So once you term it as an opportunity, that becomes that cease to become a challenge. So I have always seen any problem as an opportunity only. In Mahakavi Bharati's song, one line comes, it says, தின்னவரும் புலியனையும் அன்போடு நீ சிந்தையில் போற்றிடுவாய், நம் அன்னை பராசக்தி அவ்வடி வாயினல் அவளை கும்பிடுவாய். That means even if a tiger is coming and attacking you, it is trying to kill you, and you pray that tiger as the form of Sakti, Parasakti, or means the power of the feminine idol power of the god, which represents the power. So even an attacking tiger can become a god. And if you see the god in that, then your fear will go off and you will start performing. So challenges are only opportunities. If we realize, we succeed, we become anti-fragile, and emotional intelligence is required to realize that those challenges. I wish all the participants that we all appreciate the challenges as opportunities, and good luck to one and all.
Thank you so much for all of your explanations, sir. Now we are moving on. I invite Rotarian Premlata to summarize the session taken by Dr. Anandakumar.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed my privilege to thank our distinguished speaker, Dr. R. Anandakumar, on a topic which is very close to my heart as well. Most of us are aware of the 8 types of intelligence: the logistical and mathematical intelligence, linguistic, spatial, and musical, to name a few. But emotional intelligence does play a big role in determining one's professional or personal success. And thank you so much, sir, for bringing this topic into the forum. And your sort of points are very, very good, and it would be very useful for all the children listening to you to adapt these practices into their day-to-day lives. Of course, most of our curriculum do teach us about the other types of intelligence, but I don't think that there is any curriculum set to teach emotional intelligence. So we have to resort to self-help books or guides or YouTube videos to acquire that knowledge and put it into practice. Thank you so much, one and all, for this wonderful session. Thank you.
Thank you. That's the end of today's session. Hope everyone had a good learning time. We have exciting activities from Monday to Friday and surprise phases for the participants. We have next set of sessions of Yuva Raila 2.0 on next Saturday. Participants are expected to report by 9:45 a.m. In case of any queries, contact your group coordinators.
Until then, have an amazing Yuva Week by taking part in all the activities. And I gratefully thank you all for your sincere participation today.